want to go on a solo trip, or you want to go out with your friends without your family, then this video is going to be very useful for you. I'll be sharing my experience of how I convinced my parents and how I planned the entire trip, not all on my own, but with the help of my friends. Finally gathered the courage to travel without my family. This is back when I started working. Back in December 2017, when I did not have a YouTube channel, I wasn't into vlogging as such. All I had was a personal Instagram account and a Facebook account. So I don't really have much videos or pictures of that trip. If I do, I'll keep on adding them in this video. As usual, I was working and it was time for me to take my annual leave. I took like a 3-week leave. 2-3 days have passed and I'm like thinking about how to travel, because I did not have any friends who were at that time ready to travel. So I asked my mother if I can go alone on a trip, and she was like, no. Of course, my mother is very liberal, but of course she was a bit skeptical letting me go to an unknown place without any known people. So I had to find people who I knew. I started searching on different Facebook groups, girl groups, traveling groups, anybody interested in solo traveling or not. Used to get responses, but even then I didn't know them as such, like on a personal level. So when I went to my mom again and I said, so and so girl and this group is going to this place, so I'm going to join them. She said, do you know them? I said, no. Do you know where they live? No. Is there any sort of contact? I said, no. Obviously she said no to it, because I understand at this point in time that it was risky. I had to quickly think of a plan because the clock was ticking and the days were passing, and I just had a limited time in which I could travel. So I casually mentioned it to my best friend at that time, who was also working. I just casually mentioned it to her that, I want to travel so and so, but I'm not getting anybody else. So why don't you just, take some leaves and let's go together. And at that time, she had no plan of doing so. And luckily, she talked to a few office colleagues of hers. There were like 8 to 10 people who agreed in going. So I had a contact, I had my best friend, and I had their office people going, so I could convince my mother that okay, I'm going with them. Even then, it took me a while to make her understand how the logistics would be and everything, but she allowed me to go. That was my very first trip without family. I was feeling nervous and I was also very excited. I did not have a lot of money, so I couldn't just go and travel on an international trip. So we decided to go local. We went to the northern areas of Pakistan. They're beautiful. So we took a train, Pakistan Railways. We took an economical train from Karachi all the way to Lahore. And from there, we booked a van. Let's call it a van. And then it took us from Lahore all the way to Swat. We booked a very economical hotel. So like 5 of us would live in one room. So we just took 2. I'm sharing the story just because I want to encourage anybody of you who wants to travel. Just make sure that you're traveling with the right people, because sometimes traveling solo, as glamorous as it may sound, it can be risky. So make sure you have somebody, at least one person who you know directly, and the rest can be strangers. But don't try to go with groups that you completely don't know of. After this trip, a lot of other trips followed. And after this time, my parents, they were chilled about it. And next trip also I planned with another very good friend of mine, and I convinced her to go, and the rest people were strangers, but it was the best trip of my life. And you can click on the video appearing on the screen right over here to see my adventure trips. Bye!